Hi, I'm Matt from Tubby Tarot. Welcome back to my channel. I've got a lot of cards, cards here. Tarot cards, oracle cards, Lenormand cards, funny little decks that I don't even know what they're called. Okay, Kipper cards and weird things like that. I have been collecting for a long time. I've stopped collecting now because I literally don't have space. And also from a money point of view, it has just become astronomically expensive to constantly collect cards. But I'm in love with all my decks and I think they're gorgeous. I also have some decks that don't have boxes, which is in a drawer on the other side of my room. So I got a lot of decks, okay? I have never ever thrown a deck away. I've given decks away. It's like books. I have a vast book collection at the moment. It's growing all the time. I've never thrown a book away, even a tatty book that doesn't have a cover. I've never thrown a book away. I have actually still got, if you look through my book chat videos from way back, there was a video that I did where I parodied what you can do to books, but they are all things that you shouldn't do to books. If you haven't seen that, go and find it. In fact, I'm going to put a link down below. It's quite a good video, even if I say so myself. Okay, but I've still got the prop book that I used in that. You'll see what I mean. And I've never thrown it away. It's in a box because I just don't throw books away. I don't throw cards away either, decks. I would rather let it sit on my shelf until I can find someone to gift it to or give to, then throw it in the bin. Do you think I'm being silly? Let's say the deck is completely fucked, okay? Tatty corners and it's all been bent and it's graunched and it's scrunched. Would you take that deck and throw it in the bin? Or do you feel that's kind of, I want to use the word sacrilegious, but you know what I mean. Do you think it's like unfair to do that or wrong to do that? It's an interesting question. I think it's an interesting question because when we talk about decks and using them, we always talk about the energies that we imbue into the deck and the energies that are emanating from the deck and the energies that surround the deck. And we charge the decks with our crystals and we leave our decks under the moon, to charge them the same way we do with our crystals and our feng shui thingies, the little coin things. So for me, throwing a deck away to me is kind of a no-no. I would never do that, okay? I also just feel it's such a wrench for me because for the simple fact is I've paid so much money for a deck, okay? And even my cheap decks are not that cheap. So purely from a financial point of view, I would rather keep that deck and gift it to someone, even if the deck is completely screwed up, okay? There is always a use for that deck. You can always give it to someone and they might be super thankful to you, even though the deck is like, tied up with a elastic band and it's got coffee stains on it, all right? I know people who actually do that to new decks because they want the decks to look all fucked up. So what do you think? Would you just toss these things into the rubbish bin? I certainly hope not. I am, however, going to give you 2 ways that you can get rid of decks which are actually acceptable, strangely enough. And I don't know if you know about this. Okay, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to talk what might seem completely off topic, but just bear with me. I'm Hindu. I'm living a Hindu lifestyle. And one of the things Hindus have is a red string. Now, I don't have a red string, and I'll tell you why. Because I sweat a lot. Anybody who has seen any of my videos will tell you that I generally, even in winter, am drenched in sweat. And I find that the red string, or strings that I was wearing, I went to the Gayatri temple and the guru put the strings on. I find that, number one, they get very, very like soaked in sweat. And number 2, it tends to smell a bit. So I don't wear that. I don't believe you have to wear it if you are following a Hindu lifestyle. If you are Hindu, you don't have to wear it. I know a lot of Hindu people who don't wear it, but they are fully Hindu. Now, if you want to get rid of that string, let's say the string smells or is constantly wet with sweat, you cannot just take that string and cut it and throw it away. There are two things that you can do with the string. A, you can take it off, undo the knots, or try to pull it off, okay? Or you can bite it off. You never cut it, all right? If you want to get rid of that string, you can bite it off. And then you can do one of two things with it. You can either bury it, all right? Bury the string, or you can tie it to a tulsi tree or a tulsi plant. Now, if you don't know what a tulsi plant is, Google it. I always say Google it. Okay, I'm not doing a video on that, but you can tie it to a tulsi tree. And if you go to a temple and you see a tree with lots of little strings hanging on it, it's probably a tulsi tree, and people have hung the string on there either because they want to get a new string or they don't want to wear the string anymore or whatever. Now, how does this relate to tarot cards, Matthew? Well, in the same way that you would never just throw that string in the toilet and flush it, or you just throw it in the bin. The same goes for tarot cards, simply because the energy that is imbued in that tarot card and the amount of love and respect and stuff that has just gone into that tarot deck, whether you've used it a lot or not, you can't just throw that away. It'd be like taking, it would be kind of like sacrilegious, okay, because of all this energy that's in there. There are two things that you can do, and they might surprise you. Number one, you can bury your deck. You can make like a whole ceremony of it. You can bury it under the full moon. You can wait until it's dark moon, whatever. You can make a ceremony, but you don't have to. Just take the deck and bury it. Bury it deep. All right. You can bury it in your garden. Take it to the park if you live in an apartment. Just bury it somewhere quiet, and somewhere that you know it's not going to be dug up. All right, so you can bury your cards, and that I think is probably the best option if you desperately want to get rid of a deck. The other option is you can actually burn them. Now, having said that, first of all, when you're dealing with fire, please be careful. You don't want to set yourself alight, or you certainly do not want to set the bush alight or the area alight, okay? God forbid we end up like often happens in California or Australia or whatever. So when you're playing with fire, using fire, do it very respectfully. I hope that was interesting. All right. I'm never going to throw decks away. Sorry, I don't know about you guys, but rather gift them to someone who can use them. I'm Matt from Tubby Tarot, and I will see you on the flip side. Hi, thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to go and like and subscribe, and check out some more of my videos in my playlists.